Hello everybody, welcome to Let's Talk About It, a new series on my channel. I'm often asked about my opinion about certain DL topics, so I thought before I keep giving the same answer in the comments over and over again, why not make a little series where I give my opinion about certain topics which pop up on a regular basis. By the way, feel free to recommend topics for future videos in the comments. For the first episode, I picked the AL devs themselves. Many people always complain about them. They are lazy, incompetent, Dante is the devil himself, and so on. Well, I have a very different opinion about them. Actually, I think they are doing a good job, and here's why. First of all, because they made the dino game which suits my personal vision of a dino game the best. Each of us has our own vision of the perfect dino game. But personally, I don't expect the game to be exactly like my own vision. I'm already happy if a game is close to my expectations. And the AL is pretty close. At least closer than any other dino game out there. Before you start thinking I'm just a fanboy of the AL, I'm not. Not at all. I'm a gamer who loves dinosaurs. If someone releases a dino game which suits my personal vision better, then I'm the first to say goodbye to the AL. I just doubt that to happen, as I will explain later. By now though, the AL is the dino game which suits my interests the most, and therefore I'm already happy they even started this project. Many people often tell me how easy development is nowadays, that even they could do a game like the AL with ease. Well, talk is cheap. Do it. Seriously. Just do it. Like I said, I'm the first who will buy your game if it's better than the AL. But you will see pretty soon how many obstacles are popping up and how much work you have to put into it. So please, no comments like it's so easy to make such a game. Instead of writing such a comment, do it and write me as soon as you are ready. I will promote your game on my little channel and cheer for you if you really make a better game. Now that we have this nonsense out of the way, let's continue with some facts, which you should consider before you judge them. The immersion of the game is on the level of a Rockstar game. The immersion, not the game as a whole. But how should it be? On Rockstar games are working 500 people, which shows best how many working hours you have to put into games, especially in these days. The AL devs are a small team, even more. An inexperienced team. It's their first game. I mean, what have any of us ever done on such a scale for the first time without making mistakes in between? Hands down. The fact that they aren't much experienced, and even more that they are such a small team, is something very important and something you have to keep in mind about every critic about them. All of us would love more progress, a better performance and so on. But we have to face the reality. They are a tiny, inexperienced team. Period. Which is the only reason why this game even exists, by the way. No big studio with 200 plus people working on a game would ever touch a game like the AL. It's a niche game. It simply doesn't have the potential to recoup the development costs of games like GTA. Therefore, without those little studios, we wouldn't have such games at all. So, always keep the size of their team, but also the niche of the game itself in mind. There is a reason why we don't have 20 different games like that and 2 of them are AAA from any big studio. Think about it. The only reason we even have games like that is crowdfunding or early access. In my opinion, early access saved many game genres and is the main reason why I'm still a gamer. But that's a topic for another video. Fact is though, the game is still alpha. I don't know how anyone can complain about bugs in an alpha game. Seriously. What do you think a game like GTA would look like if you could play it during the alpha stage of their development? I mean, GTA was full of bugs even 5 years after the release. It probably still is. But some people expect an early access game of a little studio to be free of bugs. You can't make that up. I played many different alpha games since the first ones were released. Some flourished, some failed. I played Ark for about 3000 hours before it got released. It had some terrible times during the alpha development. There was a week where servers had a rubber banding of 5 to 10 minutes, not seconds, minutes. You were chopping down 10 trees, wanted to bring them back to your base, and suddenly you were 10 minutes back in time without having chopped a single tree. It was unplayable, cause you couldn't make any progress at all. Many weeks were like that, or bad in other ways. They remodeled the map all the time. Suddenly your whole base, in which 300 hours were invested to build, was within a mountain and not accessible anymore. Think about that. 300 hour base gone. Just gone. I'm just telling this to make people aware of what alpha means, and like most people probably know, Ark turned out to be a great game. I also played Thx, one of the first alpha games ever. The progress of the game was awful. The Airae devs are the fastest devs on Earth compared to them. Don't get me wrong, I love Bohemia Interactive. Operation Flashpoint Cold War Crisis was one of the best games I've ever played. Yet, the development of Thx was terribly slow. There was a bug where you fell down a ladder and died. This bug was around for 4 years. A technically simple ladder bug with a super annoying outcome for us players. They didn't care. So, all the critics about bugs are pretty much ridiculous. It's an alpha game. Period. If you don't like alphas or can't handle bugs, then you shouldn't buy such games. That's simple. The only thing I expect from an alpha game is constant development, which the Airae has. Just watch my first vids at update 3 and compare them to my newest videos. The game made a lot of progress. Nobody can deny that. So it does what an alpha game should do, making constant progress. Yes, the game and the devs are having a wild history. During the time of the change to Airae, there were almost 2 years of silence and no progress at all. Well, at least no progress we players could see. Back then I also doubted that the game will ever flourish. I questioned Dondi and his interests. Because yes, there are also many alpha devs who just want to grab our money. But the Airae devs are none of them. Which leads us to another fact. This game costs 20 bucks. That's it. No extra money for skins, no extra money for dinos, no pay to win, no nothing. Just 20 bucks. I spent more than 3000 hours in a game for 20 bucks. I played AAA games for 60 bucks, which lasted about 10 hours and gave me no reason to ever play it again. Well, of course, I love that game and others won't have as much fun for such a long time, but come on, 50 hours? You didn't even raise every dino we actually have within 50 hours. Not even mentioning raising all the dinos, which are still to come. So you have at least 50 hours of pretty fresh and exciting gameplay for 20 bucks. With no intention to grab your money by any other source. Like so many games do by microtransactions nowadays. So the money point is something which makes the Airae devs very likable to me. But I don't know. I might be just old school and I have to admit that I hate the concept of money grabbing in many modern games. Another thing I personally love about them is their passion for dinosaurs and their own game. They love what they are doing and you can feel it in so many moments in the game. They might not be the most experienced, but they make it up with passion in my opinion. The level of detail is stunning for such a little team. They could have chosen the easy way and rushed dinos out, like we already had in Legacy. With the result that many of them felt the same when playing. But they are taking their time and make them all unique. Even more, they are aiming for an AAA experience in general. They might struggle to accomplish it right away sometimes, but they try and that's all that matters to me. Now to the probably most controversial point. The devs' decisions. Which are the opposite of what the community wants and in general they never listen, right? That's something I read in my comments or hear in other videos very often. Well, sorry to say, but that is nonsense. Because there is no Airae community. This community was divided from start on. Some people wanted to be a hardcore PvP game. Some people wanted as realistic as possible. Some wanted to be a fun dino game. Some just want a sandbox to chill with their friends. And some would even prefer it to be a PvE game. On top of that, each group is even further divided. Best example is the PvP faction of the game. Some want an user to be able to kill a Vex in a 1v1, as long as you have good enough skills. Others don't want a user to be able to kill a Vex at all. Guess what? We are talking about two very different fighting mechanics here. You can't even do a compromise there. A user can or cannot be able to kill a Vex in a 1v1. There is nothing in between. So, whatever they decide, some people are mad and will tell you they never listen. But they listened. They just didn't listen to the particular person or group. An actual example is the new stamina system, which I will make an own video about. Many people like the new stem, but also many don't. So if they would have kept the old version, then those who aren't happy now would be happy, but also the other way around. That has nothing to do with them not listening. That's just making decisions which some people like and some people don't like. Many people expect the game to become exactly like they want, but that will never be possible. Ask 1,000 people and you get 1,000 opinions. Everyone who ever had to lead a team in a working environment knows that sometimes you have to make decisions to keep the progress going. If you want to please each opinion of your team, then you will get lost in detail. And don't forget, it's their first game. So of course there are also bad decisions on the way. I also don't like every decision and I also complain. But that doesn't make the devs bad, incompetent, not listening or whatever. That's just me being human. So of course you and I and everyone can complain, criticize or recommend things we would like. But bashing the devs like they are bad guys who never listen for many things which are nothing but our personal preferences is quite unfair in my opinion. I know the game can be frustrating at times. So let me share my experience of how to handle the Airae in terms of development. For those who love the game but often go crazy about it. Calm down. The devs are only humans. Mistakes were and will be made. They work with trial and error. They even said that themselves. Therefore, don't take everything too serious. Best example is the possible new camp system. I got so many thumbnails popping up about how the devs will destroy the game. Seriously, ignore them. Most of these vids are just clickbait, in my opinion. Fact is, they are trying different things. If one of them, even if it's Dondi himself, is saying something in a stream, then it doesn't mean it is written in stone. Even features which arrive can and will be taken out of the game if they totally fail. They are messing around with ideas and trying different things. Again, it's an alpha game. You have to try different things at this stage of development. If you read what Kissen and Punch said about the new camp, then it suddenly makes much more sense and doesn't fit to all these "the devs destroy the game" thumbnails. Therefore, don't take everything you hear and read about the Airae too serious. Don't get mad when an update or new feature or new stats don't suit your interests. The game is still far from being ready. So many changes and so many new things are yet to come. Nobody cares anymore that Kano had 250 byte force in update 3. When they changed it, it was the biggest drama. The devs ruined the game, the devs ruined Kano. Today most people don't even know it anymore. And nobody will care about update 7 or any of the following updates as soon as the game is ready. Therefore folks, relax, play when you enjoy an update, don't play if you don't enjoy it. The next update might change everything again anyway. My last point, and I only mention it because I know it will pop up in the comments, is Dondi himself. He randomly bans people from their Discord, he is rude to the community, in general he's an awful human being, you know. Well, I don't know him. I never spoke with him or had any contact to him. I saw a few parts of some of his streams, but way too less to judge him as a human being. But you know what? I don't care about him at all. I don't have to like Bill Gates to use Windows. I don't have to like Dondi to love his game. And let's be honest, if the game would be that bad, then nobody would even care about it. So after all, for being an inexperienced tiny dev team, they did a very good job. And the dude who started it was Dondi. Love it or hate it. Is it professional to be rude to his clients as CEO? Nope, not at all. But honestly, to me, he isn't a professional CEO anyway. He's a gamer with a dream, and personally, I'm glad he had the courage, passion and effort to chase his dream, which ended in what I consider the best Dino game since Dino Crisis. And you know what? I could also blame him. I tried to apply to the content creator program, to each of the stress tests. I even wrote them an email, but I didn't get an answer once. I even think he dislikes me, because I play this game very differently to his own vision of his game. But I don't care, and so shouldn't you. It's about the game, and not the devil who made it. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and let me know your opinion about the devs and my new series in the comments below. Your Mombi.